we forget how much abortions can actually affect men. Now, granted, if the guy's a dick and he was like, I don't give a fuck about you, like blah, 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 it's going to be not as traumatic for him, way more traumatic for you, duh. But for that example, I still would not completely dismiss that he doesn't care. It's probably a coping mechanism. Most of the time, we can assume that most people are good people, even if they don't have the best way of sharing or like presenting their goodness to the world. Like he's a bit of a dick to you. He probably deep down is actually a good person, but he doesn't know how to express himself in a proper way, and he has a lot of shit to deal with. And so as a result, his trauma response, I don't give a fuck, do whatever you want, shut down about the abortion, for example, but actually it will probably haunt him for the rest of his life of that situation and how he handled it. I guarantee you in a few years' time, he'll be thinking about it and he'll be hating himself for it, and that will eat him up. Because men don't want to hurt us. They want to protect us. So when they look back at themselves and think, God, I was so mean to her, I did not protect her, that eats them alive. Now, even if you're in a situation where you had to have an abortion and you're in a loving relationship with a really good man, etc., for whatever reason it was, maybe that the baby was not viable, maybe you guys weren't in the right position, maybe you were too young, etc. What often happens, and I really want to bring this up because it's so important that we're aware of this, it doesn't mean women diminish your pain and help him. It means that you guys are both going to be having pain. You're both going to be having trauma from the experience of the abortion. It's just going to happen in different ways, and it's going to be showing probably in different ways. And obviously, the trauma was different, right? The trauma was on you mentally, physically, 100%, mentally and emotionally. For him, it's mentally and emotionally. It's not physically, right? Point being, though, is that even if you're in a loving relationship, for a lot of men, what can happen when there's an abortion or when there's a loss of a child as well, if there was a miscarriage, let's tie that in too, is for him, how do I word this? What happens is he will go into, I need to help her. This was not my body. This was not my baby. Like this, it was his baby, but like it wasn't in his body. I don't have any right to be upset about this because it didn't happen to me. It happened to her. And so what happens, unfortunately, is they put all of their focus on you and they take away all their focus on themselves. And then, as you guys know, they harbor all this trauma and it comes out in really unhealthy ways. And it can really damage a relationship because all of this unhealed stuff is coming out and he doesn't know it's about the abortion or the miscarriage. And he would never even really admit that because it didn't happen to him, quote unquote. And you have to remember how many women on the media say, well, it didn't fucking happen to you. Is it happening to you? Is it your body? Like, it's my body. It's my body. It's my body. And so we're ramming into men's heads that they don't have a say when those things happen. They don't get to feel the pain. They don't get to be sad when there's abortions or miscarriages because it didn't happen to them. And whilst it's true, it didn't happen to their body, it was their child. It still was their baby. And so why I'm bringing this up is never to diminish a woman's experience. This is an and situation. Women, you are having your own experience and he's having his own experience. And where I think we can really go wrong with pregnancy and, the journey of being pregnant and even postpartum is that we diminish a man's experience and what he's going through and the journey that he's going through because it's not happening, quote unquote, to them. And what this does is it immediately creates a separation between the child and the father. Listen to that again. It immediately creates a separation between the child and the father, right? And you don't want to do that because it is shown by research, fathers are very, very important for the upbringing and the health of a child. So what you want to do is you actually want to do the opposite. You want to make him feel so close to this baby because you have to remember for him, he immediately isn't as close. And that's sad for him. That's hard. That can be really hard for guys because they want to be closer, but they can't be because sometimes what it can feel like is that you are the block because your body is blocking him being closer to the child because literally the baby is in your body. And so what can feel really supportive to men is you really opening up just with saying and reminding him, this is your baby, this is your baby, this is your baby, like just like really helping him to see that just because it's growing in your body does not mean that the experience isn't happening to him. It's just happening in a completely different way, right? You got to think about it. Like most of the time when, you know, a new dad is like, oh my God, I'm a dad. They go into like working harder, making more money. Like they go into full protect, provide mode. Their response to it is different. We go into nesting, but we're both doing something that is serving the child. We are trying to better ourselves and better the environment for that child that's coming into the world. It's just that the way in which we're doing it is different.